blues. Here we go. What are they watching? That's incredible. Hill Street Blues. Dallas. Fridays. There you go. With Michael Richards.
Yeah.
Larry David. They got that Larry David documentary coming to HBO, by the way. Back-to-back episodes, I think. Next month, it's called The Larry David Story. And it's a couple of back-to-back hours. I don't know whose idea that was. Probably Larry Charles, but it looks funny, if you like Larry David.
Love Larry David.
Yeah, of course. But I would like to see Hank Rollins walk out to TV Party by Black Flag. And one of their least problematic songs, by the way, if you go back through the Black Flag catalog, but TV Party, you could do a hell of a lot worse than that. We will be live downtown tomorrow, starting at 2 o'clock. Regular time will be at Public Auditorium for the NBA crossover sessions. Those are going on all day tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Brought to you by Nissan. So we'll start up at 2 o'clock. We'll have the live Poundcake Sports Break. We'll have the Bill Squire Friday Get Down on location. Brought to you by Cleveland Whiskey. That's how you know that the weekend will officially be underway. And maybe we'll play some Rolling Stone rock trivia with bystanders. Even people who I would like most to play it with people who aren't paying attention to us. So we can just yell at them and ask them if they'd like to win something. I'll bring some DVDs that Mary dug out of the the Walmart $5 bin. See if people want to win those. So that'll be tomorrow afternoon, starting at 2 o'clock, right downtown. So if you're walking around for that thing, I've heard from some people who are just planning on going to one of the crossover events. Stop by. They have also released All-Star Weekend tickets. So if you go to, for people who are asking me, if you go to NBAcrossover2022.com, that'll have that information for you. But they have released more tickets for all these different events. So there's the Celebrity Game. There's the Clorox Rising Stars game. Now, I don't know if that means rising stars in the field of laundry. I assume.
Yes, that's what it is about. Yes, it's all about
basketball.
People love laundry.
Basketball. The NBA G League Next Gen game. This says Next Gem. Is this supposed to be Gen, next generation, or the next gem? Like, man, that guy's a gem.
You know what? I don't know. That might be on purpose, but it might be a typo.
The NBA All-Star Practice. That's at the Wolstein on Saturday morning. There's all kinds of things going on, so you can find tickets online. I think if you go to Cavs.com, all of that information is there. But All-Star Weekend will be underway beginning tomorrow. As the stars shine in Cleveland, Ohio for the 2022 NBA All-Star Game, Cleveland, Ohio puts its best face on to welcome people from far and wide as the stars of sports and stage and screen descend on the Forest City. Aren't we in the Forest City? The Forest City. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the backdrop there from the beautiful shores of Lake Erie. That's the lake we're on, right? Erie. The beautiful shores of Lake Erie. Why don't they ask me to do these?
I think
kill it.
Reasons.
You think? Man. I was reading about how Belgium is... They're talking about looking at a 4-day work week. The country of Belgium is doing this, right? And they're not the only ones, with the pandemic, and it's forced people to change the way they work. It's forced employers to reconsider how their employees work. Belgium is introducing a 4-day work week and gives employees the right to ignore their boss after work. So a whole package of labor reform laws, which means that you would be legally protected from ignoring your boss after work. Poundcake does it at work. In Belgium, they want you to be legally protected to do it outside of work hours.
Hey, this is what I've been fighting for since I was a student. And they were trying to make me do homework. And I said, no,
I want to keep school at school.
School at school.
Fun
home
at
at
home.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't bring my pillow and blankets and video games to school. Why would I bring my work and backpack and all that stuff home? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Were you
guys don't
ever
own my free time?
Was your I'm not sure how to pose this question. Was your
Okay. Sorry, I had to test my microphone.
Are you okay?
No,
It wasn't working
My mic
again,
wasn't
yeah.
working.
Oh, it
again.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
I had to smack it.
Yeah.
That's the fix.
Was did you have regular family scripture hours at home?
No.
Okay.
They tried. They would try
Well, my thought was I would have thought that maybe you would have used homework as an excuse
to get out of that.
No,
No, there's no getting out of that.
Oh,
like
okay.
so we'd go through phases. There was definitely like years where we'd get into like a good rhythm, and like weekdays for sure we were doing like a nightly scripture reading, and
And how long would that be?
usually we do like a chapter or two.
So not long.
No.
Not like an hour or something.
No, it'd be like
Okay.
15, 20 minutes.
Gotcha.
But it felt
Forever.
so much longer.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where you're just trying to speed through it because you're like, yeah, none of this stuff is interesting. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I just want to be done with it. But you got to do it. There was no getting
What better
out
way
of
to
it.
get your children to
Yeah.
embrace their faith than to jam 1,000-year-old useless passages down their throat?
We also had the Book of Mormon, so some of it was only a few hundred years
100
old.
years old,
Like
right.
like 150 or so.
You're like, hey, this ink is fresh.
Yeah. Hey, this sounds a lot like the stuff that's in the other book. It feels like this might be plagiarism. No, it's inspiration. By God. Duh.
Oh, okay. Well,
But even
listen.
that doesn't seem all that inspired.
There you go.
Also, it just seems like parables. No, it literally happened. Okay.
Worked over at Simon & Schuster. I didn't rip this off. I was inspired divinely. The difference in Belgium is that there are other countries that are switching to 4-day work weeks, but in Belgium, you still have to work the same number of hours. So they're like, all right, you can work 4 days. You got to work 10 hours a day.
Well,
But
that
I think-
sounds fair.
It also, I think most people work more than 40 hours a week now, too.
Yeah, I think so.
You're
Especially
working
in
an 8
America
hour,
for sure.
Yeah, you're working an 8-hour day, boy. You feel like you're slacking. That was my thought, though. Is I was curious if you ever could have used homework to get out of the scripture reading and all that.
that wasn't as important as the other thing. Like
It took precedence
yeah.
over everything else. Yeah.
Got over everyone.
Yeah, because we were taken to mass every morning by my mom. So that was, I couldn't sit there and, listen, spoiler, my homework is already done.
Of course.
And the holes in my loose leaf reinforced, Bill.
You can reinforce it?
Yes. Those little hole stickers so that if your paper is torn, you put little hole reinforcements on the holes and you can put it back in the binder.
Binder?
So the 3-ring binder.
I thought teachers just had those.
No, you'd have you'd have a Trapper Keeper and things like that, but the Trapper Keeper has the 3 rings in it. They're plastic.
It probably did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You had a pile of papers in your pockets.
I had loose paper stuffed into a backpack.
There you go.
And like I started off the year with all these things, but I feel like within 2 weeks of going to school, everything was either jammed into one folder or I just folded up and put it in my books and like everything would just be lost. I was just so disorganized. And nobody ever like addressed it either. That was the weird thing is I just coasted through. Every once in a while my mom would try
They probably had their hands full with other things.
Right, exactly. So I was just under the radar, just like, hey, whatever. Nobody seems to care, so why would I care?
Who was your fastidious sibling? Who was your sibling that was more like I was in school?
My sister was pretty good. I mean, my brother, my 2 older brothers, like, one's got his master's. The other one's a lawyer. My sister's got her master's.
So they liked school.
They just did school. Like,
Right.
yeah, they were okay with it. And then I was definitely the outlier. My youngest brother.
You never wanted to get your master's degree.
I never wanted to go to school a day again.
He's like, I
after
didn't want
had
to go
Yeah.
to high school,
Yeah.
all right? I didn't even want to go to the 8th grade.
Like, there was a point where I was contemplating dropping out of school and just going and working for my dad. So I'm like, I'm going to make good money doing this. It'll
Sure.
be fine.
Yeah.
I just hated that job, too. So once I figured out a direction to go, I was all in on it. Like, I went in at comedy so hard. And when my parents saw that, they're like, okay, at least he's focused on something. So they were at least encouraged, whereas all the rest of my life, I had just been like floating around doing nothing without any real direction.
And frankly, it's a great argument for your opinion on the subject, given that Poundcake has more formal academic education than you do.
Yes.
Yeah,
And Mary. He's got more than Mary and me.
I got a master's degree. Oh, wait, no,
You don't
bachelor's. A bachelor.
He didn't want anything that had master in it.
I feel like the master's degree is like the new bachelor's degree because the people I know that are in college now.
Only people with bachelor's degrees say that. People with master's degrees would never say it's the new bachelor's degree because you got to work and pay to get a master's.
Well, I heard that when I was getting my bachelor's degree, they're like, oh, yeah, well, your a bachelor's degree is going to be the new associates, and the associates is going to be the new high school diploma. I'm like, okay.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, to like get a decent job,
Yes.
you need to go all the way to
Oh,
master's.
yeah, well, yeah.
I heard that in college,
The system
yeah.
is set up so that, like, if you, depending on what you want to do, the very least you'd need is a bachelor's
The
degree.
more in debt you are,
Right.
the more you get paid.
Oh, sure.
That's literally how it is.
That's exactly how it works.
the more in
Right.
debt, the more debt you have. Technically, that's the more education you have and the higher paying job you have.
Well, theoretically, that's how they sell it to you. That's not how it lays out. That's why people are $150,000 in debt.
Not me, though.
Not Bill Squire.
It's good to be.
He's
the
footloose.
Squire.
It is. He is footloose and fancy free, boy.
I mean,
It's good to be Bill Squire. It always feels right when he's in the spotlight.
Mary Santorum there, who called the show yesterday to wish Bill a happy birthday.
Now, I would not recommend that everybody take the Bill Squire route because it isn't going to pay off. I mean, even for me, you know, there was a lot of rough years.
Did you ever consider perhaps offering a seminar or a speaking engagement in Ballroom A of a Holiday Inn
Oh, absolutely.
on a Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4?
Yes, on how to go balls to the wall for one thing with no backup plan.
There you go.
How to?
They tell you not to have if you're going in any kind of creative endeavor, they tell you do not have a backup plan because it'll seem too attractive. You need to be balls to the wall.
Well, I mean, I have so many friends that are very funny comedians that weren't able to go all in on comedy because they had other things going on, whether it was a career or a dumb wife or stupid kids. And listen, I had a dumb wife and stupid kids, but I just had no other way of making money, so I had to do comedy.
Right.
And it worked out.
I've got to be
Now
on
she's
the
a dumb
road to pay
ex-wife.
for you dummies.
Yeah. Now she's a dumb ex-wife, and my stupid kids are adults. And we're all happy.
My stupid grown adult children. Let me give you $1,000 here. A chance for you to go fund yourself. Last couple of days for these keywords, but there are still plenty of them. So listen closely and good luck.
The Buzzard wants you to go fund yourself and score $1,000. Enter the nationwide keyword family at WMMS.com. That's family. Enter it now at WMMS.com. And good luck from Buzzard Radio.
A guy going into an Applebee's outside Seattle goes to walk in, and they ask him for proof of his vaccination to eat there. And he pulled out a meat cleaver and started attacking people. No, listen, I think that's the appropriate response. I mean, it's just...
Go for it.
If you're somebody who carries a meat cleaver around, it's because you know there's going to be some things started.
I just don't understand where people's minds, like COVID has literally warped people's minds to where everything is a dire situation. Like, in what scenario would it be okay? We just start whacking people. I don't get it.
You want my proof of vaccination? Here it is.
Like, I just start. Stop.
A man tried to attack multiple Bellevue restaurant workers with a meat cleaver after they had the temerity to ask him to show proof of his vaccination. And by the way, you say it's warped people's minds. I don't think it has warped people's minds.
It has.
It hasn't.
The war has gotten significantly worse since COVID.
It just let people be the a-holes they always were.
And that makes
That's
it worse.
all it is.
They
That's
feel
not-
emboldened now.
But it's not warped. It's not like they were one thing and then became another thing.
But they were holding it in.
They were looking. Well, yeah, of course.
Like people were saying,
everybody's holding something in, but
they were saying Trump brought out the worst in the people. Like, they're not necessarily wrong. People feel emboldened when they have that as a role model. But yes, they were always like that. They just feel better about it now. That it makes it worse. That you're making a situation worse. And COVID is like now. It's like every man for himself. It's survival, and everyone's on the defense. The fact that you have to walk around with a meat cleaver,
but you don't have to walk around with a meat cleaver.
But the fact
you
that he
want
feels,
to.
This is a guy
to walk around with a meat
goes
cleaver.
everywhere with a meat cleaver.
This is a guy that probably is one of the few people that can actually get a gun.
Nobody left the house to go to Applebee's. Got in the car.
I cut my own steak.
I forgot something. Walked, in case I have any trouble, walked back in, grabbed the backpack with a meat cleaver.
The fact that he feels that he has to have a meat cleaver is mental illness. And I just don't understand what scenario. It's just like, sir, all right, well, can you please put your meat cleaver? Like, they don't teach that in a manual to prepare, like, if you're a waiter or something at an Applebee's. Like, there's no...
Sir, I appreciate your enthusiasm for our culinary delights, but all of our meat is pre-cleaved.
Gonna need
Cloven. It's all been cleaved, sir.
I don't think violence is ever the answer. I don't think you should be violent, because I think that is one of the most ridiculous things you can do. You are not helping people by being violent.
We've had family who has gotten sick and who has died from COVID. It's kind of frustrating to see people just come in and not wear a mask and be violent.
Michael Dusa, 58 years old, lunged at an Applebee's bartender after he was asked to leave because he had no proof of vaccination. He went outside. He was yelling and screaming. And when they asked him to leave, the guy chased him with a meat cleaver.
Now, this is how I would react if they played that god-awful Applebee's song. Just hear that song and be like, all right, where's my meat cleaver?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it right here. I know the one you're talking about.
Hey, buddy, say you're straight. Well, that's great, but you ought to try something new. Cause you got a spot in a place that's hot and it likes to be tickled too. I got a wad to drop on your loading dock, deliveries in the rear. So buddy, let's play while the wife's away. Let me get you another beer. Let me pop you in the pooper, buddy, until I hear you squeal. If it hurts at first, that'll pass, and then you'll see how good it feels. Well, little doggy style, so get on your paws and turn around and kneel. Yeah, pop you in the pooper, buddy. Let's see how.
Wait, this isn't the Applebee's song. I've been misled. That is the
not,
wrong
yes,
song.
that is-
I thought it was jalapeno poppers they were singing about. That sounds, well, that's the wrong song. Anywho, yeah, you're thinking about the, we fancy like that, Applebee's. Applebee's fancy.
Yeah.
Right, that's the one that you're thinking of.
Who sings that song that you were just playing?
That's a band called Hot Rage. Hot with two T's. Right. I don't remember the Fancy Like is the name of that song,
Yeah.
right? The Applebee's Walker Hayes is the guy. But, gee, I'm sorry. That is the wrong song.
If you're ready now, I'm gonna start to plow and fertilize your field. Boy, your farm is rich, take it all you build.
All right, anyway, so there's there's a lot of innuendo, a lot of unnecessary innuendo in that song. I cannot get behind that, if you will. But
Also innuendo.
everybody is just fine there at that Applebee's. The guy didn't hurt anyone. He chased them with the meat cleaver, but he
Now,
didn't.
did he bring it, or was it did some employee at Applebee's leave a meat cleaver out and he just went for that?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I guess that's a good question. But attacked with a meat cleaver. I don't. Are meat cleavers left off in the front of the house?
I mean,
I feel like that's
you
strictly
wouldn't-
back of house
You
type
wouldn't
stuff.
think so, but it might have happened.
Yeah. The guy had it. They said he was yelling and waving it around. Just a few weeks ago, somebody else was near the Applebee's and refused to wear her mask, and she pulled a gun. So this Applebee's is really having a time. They're having a tough time over there between the meat cleavers And the, responsible gun owners, they're having a tough time. The guy with the meat cleaver, they locked him up, and he's not out on bail yet. Let me take a break here. You want to get a text for anything? 35192 to get us there. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can listen to the show on the iHeartRadio app.
The Alan Cox Show.
On